Hey everyone, George here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the blue diamond discus, the 2-inch fish that a friend of mine gave me when he was moving and didn't want to take them with him. They have now been in quarantine for about 14 days and they're in perfect shape. I want to talk a little bit about them going into this tank and some concerns I have about it a little bit. I'm not too worried. This tank has seen a couple of discus come and go based on really getting along and aggression and stuff like that. It's a well-balanced tank right now, and I'm a little skeptical about disrupting that, but at the same time I really want to add some more color with the discus that I have in here right now. I want to add a little more color and variety to this tank. So I'm going to be moving some fish around. There's going to be a larger blue discus that's going to go in here, and then the smaller 2-inch are going to go in another discus tank that I am working on building right now. Well, not building, it's all done and it's cycled and everything, but I mean as fish come out of quarantine, I'm going to be moving them into that new tank. So I have to move some fish around, and I don't really have any choice in that because I don't have any tanks big enough. Discus need a lot of room, and I think a minimum for 7 discus, such as with a tank like this, is to make a lot of space for them, don't overcrowd it, and do lots of water changes, of course, and keep your eye on water parameters, and don't overfeed. There's all kinds of little things that help balance this all out. This tank's in perfect shape. I've been doing water parameter checks on it almost every other day. And hi, how's it going, buddy? I have been very diligent as always with the water changes. Very easy system that I have for doing it, and this tank's in really good shape. So I think that one of my bigger blue discus that I have in another tank can go in here, and he's just a beautiful fish, and I think he's just going to add a tremendous amount of character to this tank. It looks so good with these other fish. And I'm going to be very selective about how I move things around because I want fish that are similar in size. The 2 inches obviously would not work in this tank. These fish are anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5, so they're very similar in size. But I don't want to bring 2 inches into this tank. So anyways, hang in there with me and we'll be right back. We'll talk a little bit about the quarantine process that we went through with these 2-inch blue diamonds, and talk about the simplicity of putting a tank like that together. I kind of want to stay on that trail a little bit and talk a little bit more about quarantine because it's something that really does get missed, and the importance of it gets missed. So hang in there with me and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, George here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be checking out a couple of these 2-inch diamond discus that I picked up from a friend who was moving and wanted to get rid of his whole system. Now, I didn't want to put these guys in my tank, but I thought it was a perfect time to show you what you can use as a quarantine tank. It does not take a lot of sophistication to do this. Now, this tank has been cycled for well over a year. There have been different fish in here periodically. I can move them in and out as I like. It's very simple to move the wood and the stone in here. This basically has a filtration system in here that is made by Aquatop. It's one of their Pisces series that I took off one of their tanks, a smaller tank, and it fit right on the back of this, just as good as it did on the 5-gallon that it originally came with, and it's got plenty of filtration. I just beefed up the pump in it a little bit, and the filtration is absolutely perfect for these fish. We've got a fluval heater in here that is just a basic heater. It's not anything very sophisticated. Again, very easy to clean. Also, there is no carbon in here. This is strictly sponge, ceramic, and also a little bit of carbon when it's needed, but it is not something that has to be in here. It is something that we put in here occasionally when we're not medicating, but right now this is carbon free. There are no reasons to medicate these fish. There isn't any problems with them that I know of. I just don't want to put them in my tank right away until I know a little bit more about how they're going to do. As you can see, they're beautiful little guys. They're not fully colored yet because they're only 2 inches, and it's going to be you know, a 2-inch fish is really only a couple of months old, and these guys, by the time they get 5 to 6 months, they'll be 4.5 inches, and they will get their full coloration by then. So I just wanted to show you a basic tank, something simple that you can set up yourself to quarantine your fish so you don't just throw them in with your regular tank and create problems for yourself. It's not a hard setup to have. If you have an aquatop Pisces, you can actually use that for smaller fish or nano fish. That would only be 5 gallons. This is a 10-gallon cube. This is also made by Aquatop. It's not made anymore, unfortunately, but you can get something like this. There are several companies out there that make a 10-gallon cube, and the glass on it is not so thick that this filtration system will not fit on the back of it. So, basic glass. Not a lot of sophistication to it, but enough to where you can have it look nice. You can see that the rock matches some of the decor in the room and the paint on the walls. It's just very, very nice, and it's very simple. You can have this in a room, a guest room, or someplace in your home where it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb and look ugly because it has nothing in it. Fish like to have places to hide. They like to feel secure, so you have to put a little something in there. And this small piece of wood and the 3 rocks that are in here, which are maple stone and just some spiderwood that's been in here for a long time. You can take this stuff out and clean it so easily and just keep everything in top shape while your filtration just continues to work once you've cycled the tank, and you don't have any problems. It's just really, really easy to keep clean. Now, the other tank that's in this room that is not a tank that is a quarantine tank is the Montana tank, and I moved that in here simply because my gallery was getting full, and as you know, I put a big 75-gallon Discus tank in there, and so the Montana tank got moved in here, and we it's nice for when guests come and stay. They can look at this tank. It makes no noise whatsoever. Neither one of these are. They're just absolutely quiet. You can't hear a single thing coming out of them at all, which is really, really, really nice. And so, people can come and stay with you, and you don't have to worry about them hearing this at night. Some people like water noises at night. I've had guests come and stay with me and say, geez, I hear a little bit of tiny trickle. Sometimes when the water's a little bit low, you can hear that, and I don't catch that. And they tell me that helped me sleep. So it's kind of interesting. But I love this tank right here. Very little maintenance on this guy. I do water change a couple times a week, about a quarter. And we've got quite the cleaning crew in here. We've got our quarries at the bottom that catch any food that might get to the bottom of this tank. We also have some Siamese algae eaters in here that also do a very good job of making sure that this tank is in top condition all the time as far as the plants go. We have some mystery snails and some nearite snails in here that go along the rocks, and they just absolutely, if you look at these rocks, they're just pristine completely clean. There's a little bit of algae down in here, but I kind of like that green algae. As long as it's green and it's not, you know, something ugly like that, I think it just adds character to the tank. There are a couple angelfish in here that will be coming out of here because they're getting a little bit too big for this. They're a cross between an Altus and I can't remember what the other one is. I'll have to put that information down below in the comment section. But other than that, there's some rummy-nosed tetras in here. And there's another tetra that a friend gave me and the name escapes me. If anybody knows what those are, let me know. But they've been in here for quite a while. And they're really a pretty little tetra. I think that they just really make this tank look absolutely stunning and beautiful. All the colors in here are just perfect, and it's a great little tank. I love water box cubes. I like water box anything, to be honest with you, but the cubes in particular are really, really nice. I have in my gallery, I think 6 or 8 of these with different scapes in them, and we'll do a gallery update here in the next couple of weeks just to give you an idea of where we're at. I haven't been on video much lately because I've had some family issues going on with my mother being sick, unfortunately, with COVID, and she's doing very, very well though for 86. And anyways, we had to deal with that, and it's just been a hectic couple of weeks. My daughter moved recently, and so that was going on. Just lots of new things going on. I'm going to be a grandfather. That's another thing that's been happening. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. I just wanted to take a minute. I didn't want to be on camera tonight, but I wanted to take a minute and show you really this tank over here was the one that I was really looking to show you, and I hope that it gives you some kind of feeling that you can put something like this together and quarantine your fish properly and make sure that they're doing well before you put them in your community tanks. It's going to save you a lot of headaches and a lot of hassles. And I also wanted to show off these 2 little 2-inch diamond discus, blue diamond discus, and you know, kind of show you that a tank with 10 gallons in it with 2-inch fish like this and nothing else in the tank, you know, for 14 days, it's just really easy to keep this tank pristine and to get these guys into a situation where they can go into a community tank and finish growing out with the rest of the discus that are 2-inch in there as well. As I said, I've been collecting that. You haven't even seen this tank yet. It's something that you won't see for probably another month because I want to kind of keep it as a surprise. And all these discus are going to grow up in that tank, and hopefully they can remain in that tank permanently. I'll probably get tired of it just like I do everything else, and I'll probably switch off and on, but I hope you really get an idea that you can put together a quarantine tank or a hospital tank that does not require a lot of work or a lot of effort, and you can save yourself a ton of problems down the road. So that's it for us today. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share with your friends, and there is a bell up at the top there. If you want to hit that in any videos that I put out, that would be really, really great if you would hit that bell and be the first to see any video that I put out. So again, we're in this spare bedroom, basically, is what this is, and my guests don't seem to mind when they stay here to have these little tanks in here, because like I said, they're very quiet, but it's a perfect situation to have a quarantine tank and also a beautifully set up tank. You know, guests appreciate that. They like to look at something beautiful like that, especially when it's totally silent and all they have to do is look at it. The lights go out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and when they come in here, if they're just coming up to change their clothes or do whatever, they get to look at something pretty instead of turning on the TV, and really enjoy their surroundings in here. So anyways, thank you for joining me today, and we will see you on the next one. That is it for tonight. So to summarize what we have talked about today is basically we went over the types of quarantining that I think are required for discus fish. I showed you the simplicity of putting a small tank together for these 2-inch discus and keeping it interesting and keeping it looking nice, while at the same time quarantining fish and making sure that you're not putting them directly into your tank. Even though you may know someone who gives you fish and you trust their water parameters and that everything is okay, that there's no diseases or anything, I still like to go through that quarantine process. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be an ugly, barren, piece of equipment that is ugly to look at. You can really make it look nice and make sure that these fish are doing really well and in an environment that is conducive to their health and well-being, while at the same time making sure that your larger tank like this is not going to be destroyed, for lack of a better word, by being careless about how you add fish to a tank. And this is kind of a theme that I've been on in the last 3 or 4 videos. We are going to be doing what I call a drip acclimation. Most of you who are in the hobby know what drip acclimation is. For those of you who don't, the next series next part of this series that I do will cover using a drip type system to acclimate your fish to a tank, and that becomes very important. So thank you for joining me today. Please give me a thumbs up on this video, hit that like button, man, and that really helps, and it tells me which direction I'm going in, whether it's something that you guys like. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down and explain to me why in the comment section down below here. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. So those are the 3 main things that I really need you to do to keep this channel growing. We're not a big channel, and I'm not trying to be a big channel. I don't make my living off this. I have an interest in a hobby such as this, but everything I do, I like to do well. So I just want to make sure that you can show me some appreciation by hitting that like button, like I said, subscribing, commenting, and sharing with your friends. And we're going to talk more about acclimating, as I said, in the next series, and we're going to talk about specifically drip acclimation, which is another way of doing things, and sometimes the best way of doing things, especially with fish that are expensive or delicate and need that extra time to acclimate. So thank you for joining me today. We will see you on the next one. Until then, we are out of here.